Hey guys, Matt Richard here. Um, a lot of you may know or may not know, I've been teaching Skype lessons, and one of the things that I run across all the years I have been teaching lessons and just playing guitar is a lot of guys that are like myself, that grew up playing mostly rock music, shred, for those of you that are in the shred stuff. We played largely by ear, didn't have much, if any, theory background, and I find that to be very limiting. When you get on and you're playing and you start wanting to branch out and do taste your solos or break out of just playing pentatonic scales, it can be very challenging to figure out how to do that stuff if you don't have at least some very fundamental things in your repertoire. So what I'm going to try to do with this series is break this stuff down into really small bite-sized chunks. We're going to try to keep these videos kind of short. If there's one thing I don't like, is being thrown a 3-hour video that I've got to sort through, and then I don't even remember where I was when I have to stop it because something happened and our phone rang or the baby's crying or whatever, right? So just small bite-sized videos. I'm going to show you guys the building blocks that I feel are very important to really getting into some really fun stuff on guitar. So if you stick with me through this stuff, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So let's get right down to it. The first thing I want you to do before any of this is to memorize something. Okay, and I'm gonna write it down on this board, and it's very simply this. I think you should be able to see that. That's WW 1/2, WWW 1/2. What is that? Well, let me just tell you. W means a whole step. The half means a half step. Whole, half, whole, half. I want you to memorize that. Commit it to memory. Write it on your hand. Get a tattoo. Don't get a tattoo. I mean, you can if you want, but that's kind of stupid. Memorize this. Okay, this is very, 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 very important. Trust me when I tell you, if you take nothing else from these little YouTube lessons and blog, this is important, and this is going to do wonders for our playing in just a few short lessons if you can just commit this thing to memory. Okay, so if you need to memorize it now, let's get to the fun stuff. Okay, drop my other marker. All right, so we've got this formula. What is it, right? Well, you may have guessed when I did whole, half, whole, half. Those are the steps we're going to use to build a major scale. This is the formula. There are not many steadfasts in music theory. There's pretty much exceptions to everything. This is one of the few things that pretty much stands the test of time. Okay, this is the formula for a major scale, no matter what. If we pick a note on the guitar, we're going to use C for a number of reasons. For these demonstrations, and you'll understand that as we get into this, but let's use C. Okay, and if we just use this formula, in fact, I'm just going to go up one string so it's a little easier to visualize. If we go C, do a whole step to D, another whole step to E, then we're going to do a half step, that's an F, whole step up to G, whole step up to A, whole step up to B, and then this last half step, right? We got that pretty major scale, birds singing in the morning, dew in the window, rainbows and butterflies, right? By the way, if you're a metal guy, you're into the heavier stuff, and you're like, well, I'm never going to use C major. What do I need to know that for? Trust me. Bear with me here. Hang in. I'm going to show you something very soon that's going to basically let you sort of take this C major scale and kind of turn it upside down and get some really cool, dark sounding scales out of it without having to learn anything new, okay? So hang in there. There will be reward for all of us that don't necessarily maybe want to play C major all the time. All right, so whole, half, whole, half. Let's go ahead and write those notes down real quick. All right, so we got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right, now you may have noticed all these notes are naturals. That's one of the reasons why I picked C, is because it's easy to demo because we don't have to worry about sharps and flats. If you do not know that E to F and B to C is a half step, okay? If you're not really sure what's going on there or why it's a half step, I have something in the blog That's a little sort of cheat sheet primer for you, just to memorize. It's all the notes in the guitar. I'll just run through it real quick right here. Every single note you can possibly play on the guitar, even though I know we have, well, this guitar is only 21 frets, but you know, some of you have 24 fret 8-string guitars. There's only a dozen notes we can play, okay? So C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then we're back to C again. That's it. That's all the notes. And then they just repeat all over the place. It's one of the reasons guitar is so freaking confusing, because we have a zillion different places we can play the same thing. But that being said, it's very important that you know, that's probably the other thing I would want you to memorize. If you're going to memorize anything, aside from this WW half, WWW half, the other thing you want to know is E and F is a half step, and B to C is a half step. Because basically E and B have no sharps or flats. They're always just E and B. You know, C, there could be a C sharp in here. D, there could be a D sharp in here. All these other notes can have sharps or flats. E and B don't have a sharp. Okay, there's no sharp. Yes, there can be a B flat and an E flat, but that's the same as D sharp. That's the same as A sharp, right? Don't let that confuse you. This is all going to be laid out in time. But just know, the regular notes can all have a sharp. E and B do not. So when we hit an E, we go straight to an F. When we hit a B, we go straight to a C. We don't pass go. We don't collect $200. It's just a half step, right? Half step from B to C as well. Okay, E to F, B to C, half step. That's what this guy's for. The other ones are whole steps. That means there's a note in between. So from C to D, we got this other guy, right? But where we got like an E to an F, that's a half step, right? Just one fret away. A whole step is 2 frets. It's a little easier to visualize on the guitar. So if you need to practice it that way, practice it that way. Practice doing the C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and see those whole and half steps visually as 1 fret and 2 frets apart. Whatever you need to do to memorize that, memorize it, okay? So when you have this memorized and you understand that now with this formula, you can build a major scale. It doesn't matter what note you start on, this formula still applies. So whether we're playing in C, D, F, G, or the key of B flat, whatever note we start on, okay? Okay, that happens to be the key of B flat major. I just did whole half, whole half, starting on a B flat. Same as C. I skipped a note there. Okay, C major, B flat major. You'll start to notice that some of these patterns sort of start to take shape here. And that's important. The guitar ends up being a very pattern-based instrument, and that's okay. I'm going to show you how to use that stuff to your advantage, but also how not to use it as a crutch. So I don't want to go too long here. This is what we want to learn today. Whole half, and memorize that E goes straight to F every time, and B goes straight to C. There's never going to be an extra fret on your guitar where there's a note in between E and F, or there's a note between B and C. B and C are always going to be next to each other. Jaws, right? And E and F are always going to be next to each other. Or for you metal guys, right? Memorize that stuff. Let it soak in. I don't want to throw too much at everybody at one time. We're going to come back, and when we come back to this on the next video, we're going to learn how this equates to chords, and for you guys that are in shred stuff, arpeggios. Arpeggios. What? Yes. We're going to get into arpeggios soon. So have fun with this. Don't get too bogged down with the theory. Just let it soak in. You can absolutely hit me up, comment on the video, shoot me a PM, Facebook, whatever, the blog, reach out to me. If you have questions about the stuff, I'd be glad to answer them. I hope this was sort of thorough. I hope you get some value out of it. Again, Matt Richard here, little sort of theory foundational course and how to have fun playing guitar and, just making music. All right, see you guys.